Okay, back to Mishlei 24. We're at 24:8, and this is a weird, something about the syntax here is weird. Weird pasuk to read. Machashiv l'hareya lo bal mizimos yikra'u. How would you translate that? One who plots to do bad.
I'm not sure that's how you translate the Hebrew.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good Stam translation.
To him or of him.
Yeah, to him.
Cunning.
Yeah, a master. Master. So cunning would be like orma or arum. That's how I use it. So okay, so let's see. So I think let's see. There's no Metzudas ציון on there. That's weird, because if you look at yeah, cleverness might be a good one. I know sometimes people translate arum as clever, but I think cunning, because of the nachash connotation, is better. But if you look at let's see here, this should work. This is one of the things that we give to the na'ar in the beginning of Mishlei, which is ladar das mizima, and the Metzudas ציון. Hopefully he says something. Mizima inyan Machshavah, kamos zamama sadeh batikachehu. Like she plots or plans out the field and then she buys it. So some other master of let's do this. One who plans to do bad for him, a master of plots. I think that's probably a good Stam translation. Yikra'u.
Oh, they will be called. They will be called,
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So right, isn't it a weird thing? The low really throws me off. Right? Who's the him? As the Sadigon says, Yesh shuhu machashiv bara ubnei adam korim lo ish tibunos. Okay, so this is a Sadigon Yesh pasuk. Okay, so I feel like we haven't had one of those this year. So let's just review the Sadigon Yesh pasukim. Where does he talk about it? He talks about it in Hakdama. Let's see. Should have looked at this earlier. Okay, Hakdama goes through the category. You should know also he has categories of pasukim in the beginning. I've always wanted to give a shiur on that. Like how Sadigon categorizes all the different types of Mishlei pasukim. Okay, it's not here yet. Here's Mizimos. Okay. Yes, the translation of Mizimos here. Hold on. Let's just read this while we're here. I didn't realize you give translations. Oh no, this goes into the whole how the soul works. All right, I'm not going to do that yet. Okay, sorry. Thought I knew where this was. Matana, Shlishi. Okay, now he's counting. Revi sipur davar shamatu chacham. Oh, here we go. This is it. Hachamishi. The fifth category of pasuk is davar she'amru b'lashon klali v'inyanim miyuchad. So something that's stated in general terms, but he's really talking about a specific case. Okay. Kamru mivarach re'ehu b'kol gadol. So that is 93. I think the rest of the pasuk is mivarach re'ehu b'kol gadol b'boker. Klala yichashiv lo, something like that. Someone who blesses his friend in the morning with a loud voice, that will be considered a curse for him. Okay, so that sounds like it is stating a general principle that you shouldn't bless your friend in the morning. But he says, Pirusho yish hamavarach esre'ehu. There is a case of someone who blesses his friend, b'kol gadol b'boker b'hashkama, who blesses his friend loudly in the morning. V'hi lo be'enav nechshavas legidufin, and it will be considered in his eyes as an insult or as a curse. Klamar belibo, in his mind. V'hi is v'domav k'ena psukim shekasu b'tchilasan yesh. And this is similar to the psukim that explicitly write in the beginning yesh. Kagon yesh mefazer ve'ein kol something opposite. There are those who squander money or scatter money and they don't have anything, and then the opposite. Yesh misasher. No, that's what I was thinking. Yes, misasher ve'ein kol, or whatever. So there's cases like that. So in other words, the point is he's saying this is there is a case of a person who plots evil, but people call him a man of understanding. Yeah.
Does he explain why sometimes it has it explicitly written out versus
not that I know of? Yeah, not that I know of.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it would be easier if all of them were explicitly written out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he holds that, that's what this pasuk is saying.
Yeah. Right.
Do you think that he must have some reason, or?
I don't know. I don't know. My guess, okay, this is just my guess, and I could be doing anachronistic projections, but like, I feel like there are a lot of aesthetic, aesthetic, poetic things that dictate how proverbs are formulated. And therefore you can't always be medactic on like let's say like if it rolls off the tongue, like the early bird gets the worm, right? Like there's something that just rolls off the tongue with that, but then I'm trying to think of a proverb that most of our proverbs are stated in the absolute. Are there any that we say that are stated as cases in English? Right, most of them are stated as absolutes. Yeah, I don't know.
What's your question? Sorry, I missed which.
Sean's original question was if Sadigon holds that there is a genre of psukim that explicitly states yesh, and then there are psukim that really mean yesh, but they are not. They're stated as absolutes. So then, what dictates? Is there subdivision in the two categories? How do you what dictates one or the other? And I'm claiming that I think it's just a matter of like in Proverbs, like you're not going to necessarily formulate it. There's a lot of stylistic considerations. Yeah.
The worm, it's an example of a category.
Right.
It's designed to show you the categories. What's saying, if you are, early to do something, then you'll get, then you'll be most likely to be.
Right. I'm trying to think if we have any corresponding things to the yesh category in English proverbs, like where you explicitly state in the proverb that it's a specific case. And then if we have any cases in English where we state it universally and it's only talking about a very, very, very specific case, so I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's Sadion. Targum, which I forgot to look up again. Man dechashiv lamav asha, one who plots or who plans to do evil. Nikrun le mare tarisa bishta. They call him a master of bad mizimos. Okay. So bishta is bad.
No, Tarisa is.
Tarisa, I think is. Let's look it up. I think Tarisa is just the straight translation of Mizimos. Yeah, Isaac.
You said you forgot to look it up. Where were you looking up? Translation of Targum.
Marcus Jastrow.
Oh,
yeah. Tarisa. Tara might actually be it. No, gatekeeper, locksmith. Tarisa, cunning, planning, ambition. Yeah. Okay. Oopsies. Okay. So yeah. So so it's almost the opposite of Sadigon, right? It's open, right? Because Sadigon's saying, I added in the word but it sounds like he's saying that people are calling him like ish tuvunos sounds like a good thing, right? Yeshu machashiv ra ubnei adam korim lo ish tuvunos. But this is the Targum, someone who plots to do evil, and people call him a master of evil plots, right? One who plans evil will be called a master of evil plotting. Yeah. Okay. Art scroll. One who thinks of doing evil. So they learn Machshavah as just thinking, not necessarily. Planning is a thinking word also, but thinking is less reference to action. Will be called a master of wicked designs. That's how I like translating Mizima. He who plots to inflict harm, they call him a schemer. It's a joker term. Alter says who plots to do evil, they will call him a master of cunning. Okay, so he goes with cunning. Yeah. All right. So do we really need to preserve these? I feel like these are close enough to ours. Okay. Yes.
Yikra is passive.
They will call him. I also thought it was passive.
He
will be called. I will be called. I think is the they will call. I think he will be called by them. Maybe right.
Well, they will be called something to multiple people.
Yeah. Right. So I think that's good.
That's a little these days.
Yeah, I think he will be called by people. I think it's probably the best way to say it. Like it's plural. Yeah. Isaac.
Questions?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the actor in this pasuk doing?
What is the actor? He's acting. No. What is the the actor in this pasuk doing? Meaning, what is the machshavah? What is the machashiv laharalo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it was better than saying what is the first half of the pasuk.
What does machashiv machashiv laharalo mean? Yeah.
Just a reading question.
Yeah.
The asnachta is over the
Oh, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. Okay. That's why no one had trouble with it in the translation. All right, thank you. Yeah. Machashav laharea lo bal mezimos yikra'u.
That makes more sense.
That makes, okay, yeah. That's very good. Wow, I usually don't make that mistake. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you.
So the imam would change that one.
The which one?
Question one. Machashav laharea.
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, next question. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who are they that are calling?
Yeah.
him?
Who is doing the kriya?
Yeah, and also like, why is it specifying that's multiple people? Versus
Yeah.
Just that he's going to be called.
Why specify multiple people? Yes.
Is bal mezimos good or bad?
Yeah. Is bal mezimos good like sadigon implies or bad like targum? Yeah, Yaakov.
This is building off of one, but does he actually have to ask? Is he going on time?
Right.
People, like, how do they know?
Okay. Oh, that's actually good. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm going to put that as a separate question, even though it is related. How is this expressed such that people know to call him this, right? In other words, like, is he acting? Is he doing things or just thinking? Yeah, which I realize that's part overlaps with what Isaac's saying, but I think saying how do they know that this is the case is a good separate question. Yeah. Yeah.
What is leharaya mean? I guess that's actually kind of sorry. Is the
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, we could break it into two.
Yeah.
Let's say what kind of what level what kind of raw.
Yeah.
Why specifically that also?
Hold on a second. Why specifically bad? Yeah. You know what I need to do? Hold on a second. I usually don't need to do this so early in the morning. I'm gonna pause this. Hold on. Okay. All right. So back to this. What kind of now watch, it's not gonna work. Oh no, see, it's faster now. What kind of raw? And then let's say who is the victim? I'm gonna put this in this question. Who is the victim or would-be victim? Oh, this is so much smoother. All right. I'm glad I'm paying absurd amounts of money. No, yeah.
Why? I mean, if he just plans to do bad, right? If he plans to do bad, like the next time of the pasuk seems to be calling him a man who plots.
Yeah.
So why just specifically if he does something bad? If he thinks about doing something bad instead of good? Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. So why? Okay. So let's put it this way: is he only called a bal mezimos when he is machashev lehareya, or can he be called bal mezimos even when he plots to do good, right? Like, and I think that's also going to see. This is the difficult thing about mezimos, right? So in Mishlei, mezima could be good or bad, and then same thing with arum in Tanakh. I think in Mishlei is usually good. Orma is usually good, but it's difficult. That's I think that's why the meforshim are going to be split here. Okay, I think we also have to ask, so what, right? Like, what is the consequence of being called a bal mezimos?
Yeah, and who's the audience?
Yeah, who is the audience? Yeah, and this is an interesting one, right? Because if the audience was clearly a Russia or an Avil or a Xil or one of these people who Mishlei doesn't typically talk to, then we would say that that it's not that this is not talking to him, right? But for all I know, Machshavah Lab could be one of us, yeah, right? It's not a normal Mishlei type, and you can even read it as a standalone event, which actually, we should ask this as well. Is Machshavah Lab a Mishleic personality type, or can this even be referring to a single instance? Yeah. Did you have a question, Isaac?
I have a very small thought.
Very small thought. Okay, hold on. Let's just see if we got did I write down the audience? Yeah.
What's the Havamina also?
Yeah, that's a good question. What is the Havamina? Is it that he won't be called a Baal Mazimos, or is it that he will be called something else, right? And those can coexist, obviously, but just saying he won't be called Baal Mazimos is the more conservative Havamina than this. I'll add, what is the practical application? Yeah. Okay, we're ready for ideas? Okay, Isaac, go ahead.
So it's just about the why specify multiple people.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he's being called this and being called it by multiple people makes me think that whatever this is, people are able to identify it.
Okay.
It's
That's
not
good
just
move.
only the Neville's gonna be able to figure out this guy's a Baal Mazima or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that the masses are going to be able to are going to be the ones
Right.
calling.
You know what I want to do is I want to just remind ourselves of last week's pasuk, because it's possible these are related. Now that I think about it.
Oh, I think you put over there.
Oh, okay.
Or Bangladesh.
All right. Yeah. All right. Good. So I'm not the only one.
No, I'm sorry, I wasn't over here. He was
Rabbeinu Yonah. Okay. Yeah. So let's just read last week's one, because that also had to do with perception, I think, according to some at least. Ramos le'evil chachmos bashar lo yiftach bihu. Wisdoms are a precious stone to a fool, or are lofty for a fool. In the gate he will not open his mouth. Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Anyone else have an approach? Yeah.
Actually, I have a few approaches.
Okay.
I'll start with one.
Yeah. I also have one.
Which is, I think certain times, looking through history, there are people who are absolutely terrible people.
Yeah.
And for some reason, people really appreciate their brilliance and their strategy.
Yeah.
And praise them for it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you get caught up in just the brilliance of a plan and don't really think what are the consequences of a plan, or what type of person is this person that's implementing the plan, and then you really don't understand the ramifications of the plan, and you attribute to him a positivity.
Interesting. Okay, so meaning you just in the case you're talking about, you're saying that you're talking about people who are objectively good at planning things, but you're saying, and so in that sense, then they could be they could be praised for that as an ability or a means, but then because people don't look at the harm that they cause, then it skews their.
A lot of times you have these dictators, and they're brilliant tacticians, and they are very good at acquiring great things for themselves. And a lot of times people see that and then they want the power, and so they become followers. And so it's emphasizing, I think, potentially the fact that he's being called this by people, right, is that people see this and they're drawn to it, and they want to ingratiate themselves into the person who.
All right, so that's good. So then according to this, then the audience would be someone who is prone to falling into that state of enamoring the person who has this, right? And okay, that's a good approach. Machshavah Lab, lo Baal Mazimos yikra'u. Right, so it's really, so that's interesting then. So it's okay. I mean, another question also, just to refine it, is the guy has this brilliance and people are already getting swept up in it, and then that's where Mishlei is telling you, don't get swept up in what other people are getting swept up in, right? Meaning that's the reason why it would be plural, right? Yeah. Not just like, don't, if there's a Russia in your workplace who's like really good at planning stuff, I mean, it could apply to that, but I'm saying like, it's not just gonna be a one-on-one thing. It's going to be like, there's an aura of brilliance around
the
it.
masses get stirred up to follow this evil person, and you don't want to be a sheep.
Yeah. Right.
Going to the
right. Yeah. I feel like a lot of times this occurs in revolutions, where you have the person who is leading the revolution is automatically going to have a certain status of a balmazimos because he's undermining the norm, and that is going to appear, regardless of whether it actually takes, cunning or not, it's going to appear that way, especially because people are being dissatisfied by the norm. And yeah, okay, that's good.
Just to be clear, Sean, you're reading like Sajid
kind of. I don't think it necessarily. I think you can even
I can't see it in the way that we translate the pasuk.
I think people can recognize that what he's doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And still want to be ingratiated with that power.
Yeah,
planning and acting, right?
What? Yeah.
Planning and
acting, right? But and it's highlighting the planning because what people admire is the execution of the plans, not just the acting, right?
Yeah.
What do you call just to make sure we're on the same page here, ours is neutral, Sadigun's is positive, and Targum's is evil in terms of the way people identify him. So you're definitely not saying Targum, right? Like in others, right. Yeah, Targum.
I feel like plot has like a negative connotation.
Well, so if you can come up with a better term, then fine. But like in
Plans?
what?
Plans?
No, a term that is not Machshavah. Also,
scheme
definitely has a negative connotation, right? A scheme, a wicked scheme, Right. Yeah. So the fact that Matsudas ציון quoted the Ashes Chayil Zamim Masade V'tikachehu, like she there's got to be a better good English word. Let's look at the thesaurus really quickly. Hold on.
Wait, you're looking for an English word for what?
For planning.
For positive sense or negative sense?
Both. Yeah. So let's look at scheme as a verb. Course of action: arrangement, blueprint, design, device, game plan, pattern, plan, program, project, proposal, strategy, system, theory. These are all nouns, though. You don't have a verb option. Let's like plot. What? Yeah, no, but usually they have verb. Yeah, here we go. Plan, scheme. Why does scheme not show up for the whatever? All right. Conspire, devise, hatch, operate, sketch, angle, brew, cogitate, collude, conceive. Yeah. It's I don't think there's one that finagle. A finagler. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. Ezra, you had an idea?
Different theory.
Sure. Yeah. Let's just get everything on the table here, I think.
So this pasuk is warning you about even coming up with like a bad plan. A plan
Yeah.
to be bad to anyone because it'll forever ruin your reputation.
Okay. Yeah.
Just an evil planner.
Right.
All you did was like you had a bad thought about someone.
Yeah. So the question then would just to develop that practically. So it would have to be a plan that is exposed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could say that as a safeguard against like having the plan be exposed, then you shouldn't even like think about it. Think of examples.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Right. And so there's people will define you on the basis of that one thing. Yeah,
never it's something that you can hardly recover from.
Right. Yeah, I have an example of this. Let me state this example. There's an example. I don't even remember the details. I wouldn't say them if I did. There's an example of like a rabbi who I know is an honest person who like did some sketchy thing in the way he set up or the way he proposed setting up like a school that he was starting, and somehow it got into the newspapers, and then like I don't know if it stuck with him, but like it I think people just glommed on to like the scheming Jew trope, and then like that just like took off. Yeah, Arya?
Yeah, just to add that I was thinking along the same lines.
Yeah.
It seems like I don't know if this is human nature or not, but like it's like I don't know, like a tagline from like
what's the name? The prime minister in England back then.
Churchill.
Yeah. Like I think bad news.
Oh, yeah.
Spreads across the world.
Before
before
the truth can put on its pants in the morning. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny. I asked for Pesach about that.
Yeah.
There has to be truth to what he's saying, right? Because I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like,
yeah,
people kind of like take something negative, something bad, and like they run with it.
Yeah.
Versus like, but if it's true, like why won't they? Like you said, that there's something appealing, like an emotional appeal.
Yeah.
To the negative that's that everyone wants.
Yeah.
Or to be associated with this.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
So like I'm wondering over here that like according to what Ezra's saying, like maybe like if someone, and I'm taking this in a negative way,
yeah,
if someone like plans to do bad, and even though he may be a good thing,
yeah,
he may be like overall positive, like people will take that and just
okay. So I want to just add to that, and I'll go Chaim and then Sean and then Isaac after that. But correct me if I'm wrong. You like public tochacha, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you want me? Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
If you have something,
yeah. So I noticed that in a lot of Mishlei shiurim, you'll give examples from your workplace and also how you engage in scheming and plotting about those people, right? So I always think, now you never ask me to, I mean, not never, but you don't usually ask me to turn off the recording for that.
You don't have to turn off the recording right now.
Okay, no, that's not what I'm asking. But like I always wondered to myself, like at the same time, you have also recommended this Mishlei shiur to various people who you're associated with through like, through other channels. And I always wondered to myself, what happens if it just happens once where a Jewish person who you're working with takes up your offer to hear the Mishlei shiur, they end up liking it and they listen to other stuff. And I think we can all agree you have a very distinctive voice. And so if they hear Ariel talking about how he's going to like be manipulating the ego of his boss and like doing that stuff, I don't think that's a good look. And Machshavah Lab is Bal Mizimos Yikra. I think that's, I think you should ask me to pause the recording before you.
Oh, honestly, I just don't think they're gonna end up watching it.
Right. That's why Sadigun is saying yesh. That's why I see. I think that's why Sadigun says that there's a yesh case. That this is a case where it's not a general rule, but because the consequences could be extremely harmful, you need to be aware that there are cases like this. And in terms of if there was a high cost in asking me to turn off the recording, then you'd have to do a pro and con, But I feel like there's no cost in you asking me to turn off the recording,
Yeah, first of all, I care more about the listeners who want to improve themselves.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And if they could get insights into my life story, no matter how entertaining it may be.
Okay.
It's because I think there's more. It's more real there than like.
Okay. Taking one for the team. Okay. Very good. I also just want to give an example of this idea as well. So I don't know the details. I'm not going to look it up in case it's a lot worse than I remember. But the actor Arnie Hammer, who was I first saw him in The Social Network. He played the Winklevoss twins. That guy. I don't know what else he was in. I feel like he's doing a superhero movie. So he I think got canceled for like some like writing about like cannibal fantasies that he had in like a weird fetish type thing, and like he got branded as this like really like perverse person, but it was his machshavos. I don't know if it was like someone he was dating that like he texted or something, but like that's an example where like it was it was probably more than one time that he did it, but one time getting noticed for it, and then he gets characterized by this entire thing. It's like that's the and again, I don't know if that's machashav. I mean, cannibalism is laharea, but but it was a total fantasy. I don't even think he was. I at least I hope he wasn't actually trying to pull it off. Yeah, fine.
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to back up the claim with like from the bottom, because I was thinking about like it's strange thing is as if someone plans to do bad, then he's called like a master of plots, plural. Yeah, and he's like the Baal of this thing.
Yeah.
So it's just like this idea that you can get characterized as this guy just from like a one-time thing, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was saying I thought it was a strange.
Yeah, right. And it's, I think one question which we I don't know if we need to answer this, but it'd be good if we answer this, is why is it that that it gets blown into a whole like type, like a whole reputation? Yeah, you want to add to this? Yeah. Oh, yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, so I was thinking about in terms of Ezra's approach of the plotting, right? That usually when people just do bad, like it's not necessarily a plotted out thing.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, like he got swept away by like his emotions or something just happened, like, and it's a little bit more forgiving.
Right.
Once you see that somebody plotted to do it once,
then
you're always going to have the doubt in every other thing that they do. Did this person plot in that event too? And so because it creates a suspicion.
I think so.
You might have been plotting to do this bad thing in this moment. Then all of the things that you do that are bad then get categorized as plots.
Right. So let me just, I think there's two qualities you're identifying. One is the amount of energy they invested in it, right? Like sometimes it's clear that, let's say like someone just like, you know, like lied under pressure, or like they were just trying to like, it was the easiest thing to say. But when you see the plot, you see that they invested energy. And then because of the deception, now you have to question everything. Or the motive, like the deception in terms of either he actually lied in terms of saying he was going to do a thing and he was going to do something and did something else, or he lied about why he was doing something. Now everything is open for a suspicion.
Especially if they get away with it for a little bit. Then like what else are they getting away with?
Right, exactly. Isaac, did you have something earlier? Or?
I wanted to add what I also want to add what Sean was saying.
Okay.
Just add with what Sean was saying. I think it's, you know, like you like lose the ability to justify in your mind, you know, that, you know, like you're saying that this was, you know, like anything but like you know, planned out. Even if like it would actually be like crazy to plan out something that elaborate. You know, like I think once you see that they're putting putting thought into doing that, then you take that to like a person's mind will take it to an extreme. Right.
Because that's the nature of a plan also. I mean, you plan to do things because you're going to do them, you know, like,
I was just going to add what they were saying. That, the reason that this like dominates people's perception of it, I think it's a known thing now that like fear and anger and hate is
the way the dark side.
It goes much more viral than positive things. You know, that's the whole thing. Right. Social media, you know, like and so something like this was just like a, you know, negative characterization of a person that like is like a very appealing story to tell others, like, well, you know, that he's like a schemer,
right?
You know, like you know.
No one's like spreading viral rumors that like, oh, so-and-so is so good at planning the yeshiva dinner. Like that's just you know, but planning to like overthrow the government is a much more juicy story.
Talk about how the food stopped at dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's a good example. Right.
And so like, you know, and so that's like there's, you know, an aspect to be aware of. This is it's not just like, oh, there's not being like, oh, you know, he planned this bad thing, but also, you know, he does something. It's the like this point that people
got it. Right. Ezra, David in the back. Ariel,
So I think also part of the reason why like this is like the evil stuff is the one that's like, let's say posted on social media stuff. I think a lot of times like calling someone like this, calling someone a name, giving them a label, or posting something like that is trying to actually create a change. So let's say for the reason why all the reviews are bad is because they want this product to not die after 3 hours.
Right.
So they all write bad reviews. And then it's either a really bad review, it's a 1-star, or it's a 5-star. Either someone's really happy with it, or they're really upset with it, because they really don't want it to change, or they want to know like this is a great product, you're buying it, or like absolutely terrible. Someone says like 3 stars, like it's not. No one does. By no one, I mean very few.
It is interesting, by the way, though. I agree that sometimes is a motive for like making these dramatic you know, claims here. I don't think that that's even necessary. I think that there's enough of an intrinsic pleasure in lashon hara that like that it doesn't even need a particular. Just giving the person the feeling of the power even if they're not actually trying to like change the thing, is enough of an addictive quality. Yeah.
So I mean, okay, so to finish the idea, so because they want that to like change how people actually view this person, that's why they label him like that. It's regardless of whether he actually plans to do it, regardless of whether he will actually do it. Yeah. And just because planning itself, they label him as like a siag around.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Right. Yeah, David, and then Ariel, and then back to Isaac.
A comment on just some of the things that have already been raised. I think particularly one who plans to do bad, because that's what will get noticed. Someone plans to do good, as we were saying. And I think also then from that, in future times, even if he does plan to do good, I think that at that point you just call the master of plots. It's not whether like, oh, this is like a bad thing he's planning to do, let's be careful. There's a good thing he's planning to do. I think just in general, even when it looks like has a good idea, like, wait, this person has this, now it's already known this person looks like he's doing something, and we can't trust them altogether, whether it's for the good or for the bad.
I don't know if I follow your point. Can you say it again?
Just one small little thing that master of plots will be called by people. Yeah. And that could be either for the good, whatever he's looking to do in the future, whether it's for the good or for the bad. Yeah. People will start being weary.
So are there, is there a reason why, because the way we're learning it, then we're definitely saying that there's a negative connotation, right? For this approach, that people call them master of negative plots. I feel like you're only diluting the idea by taking away the negative connotation. Is that what your goal is? And if so, like, what are you gaining by doing that? Like you're saying he's going to be called, unless I'm still misunderstanding, you're saying he's going to be called a master of plots in general.
Yeah. So then what that would be to say is, I guess you're asking within like the practical application.
No, within like the idea reads smoothly into the pasuk if you say that someone who plots evil is going to be called a master of evil schemes. That I get. Now you're saying he's going to be called a master of stam schemes, and to me, taking that step back to a more general term dilutes our idea. Now, if you have a reason why you're saying it, then I can see saying it. I'm not against saying it's a stam thing, but to me, I feel like it only dilutes the idea. So unless there's something you're gaining, some nuance you're adding that justifies why, because I think people will call him a master of evil schemes. I don't think they'll call him a master of schemes for good or for evil. So I feel like either you're getting at another idea or I'm missing the nuance you're adding to our idea.
Okay, I'm not, okay. Yeah.
Did you see my question or not?
You're just saying insofar as, like,
the pasuk reads very
Who are you seeing this pasuk being addressed to?
To a person who is potentially going to be Machshavah Lab.
Okay, so then what I would be seeing this as is then that this person should know for the future also that anything that I now propose is going to be a hard sell no matter what.
It's going to be a hard sell.
When I have like a bad or an evil scheme, that's gonna be a hard sell because people already know that I have bad schemes. When I have a good sign, I'd be like, oh, let's have a nice get together, whatever it would be. People even then like a nice sounding, not scheme-y sounding thing will still be also.
Okay, so you then, according to that, I don't think you need to change this to Baal Mazimos. You're just giving another application, which is that even when you're planning for good, then people will still like look at it with suspicion. Yeah. Okay, all right, that I will accept. I won't accept. I mean, I don't see why to make this into a stam scheming, but in terms of like a practical application, it really works out. Yeah. Yeah, Ara?
Yeah, I have a few add-ons to what we were saying collectively.
Sure.
I don't know where it would fit in.
Okay.
This approach, but yeah, it seems like one is simple. It seems like we're talking about, like we're teaching this guy like what human nature is.
The audience of the pasuk, you mean? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you mean the human nature here, meaning that people are gonna like label him this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like what we're saying.
Yeah.
All right, and the second thing is like, it's interesting that that in terms of doing planning about the bad. Yeah. The good. It's almost like no one really cares about the good. It's interesting. Like, so in your question about when you first asked, like, why is that so? Like, I wonder if that's because this is speculating right now, but like I wonder if it's because like people really want to see good people fall.
That is true.
I wonder.
I don't know if that's the only reason, but that is definitely true. People definitely want to see good people fall. Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
I mean, I don't think people want to have the burden of needing to like do the good. Like I feel like there's conflict in terms of people. It takes a certain amount of sacrifice to be able to forego immediate pleasure or whatever, or to subordinate yourself to halacha. And like whenever someone good falls, you're like, see, like it's not real or it doesn't pay off, the inner animal rejoices,
So according to it makes great sense. Like, it's almost like a relief that they're falling down, because like I can now, the level that I'm at right now is great.
Right. Yeah.
And the third thing I was going to say is like, it seems like if someone does plan to do bad, let's assume it's really bad. Yeah. Right. It's almost like there's a lot of effort and energy that takes place, because like he's kind of going against the, like the norm. He's like going against the grain. Yeah. To make that possible. But for someone who's doing good, it's almost like there's not really much he needs to do. It's like you just have to be in line with like reality.
Right. Yeah.
In certain situations.
Right. Yeah. All right. Those are good add-ons. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I forgot who was next. Yeah, Isaac, and then Chaim and then Sean, and then we'll stop for today.
About the question of why would a person do this?
Yeah.
I think this is exactly the type of thing that
why would a person do what?
Why would a person talk about that this person is
Baal Museum? Why would a person call this person Baal Museum? Okay, yeah.
I think this is exactly the type of thing that like fuels the little links inside of all of us.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's true.
Yeah.
And bad about a person.
Yeah.
And that you can say that, this is their fundamental character, even though it's still one-time thing.
Yeah.
And so then you get to say, this person is like the worst person ever.
Yeah.
And like, and you can put them down, all the late things about that.
Yeah.
It's like exactly the type of thing that's like fuel for that.
Yeah. Yeah, after shiur, I have a personal example that came up last night about the little the Pintaliate and Chaim.
So I was thinking similarly about the about one of the points that I made. There's one of the last things you just said already.
Should I come back to you?
I forgot what that was, but I was say the other thing I was thinking. It's like why it like gets blown up.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's a certain level of like betrayal.
Yeah.
When, like somebody goes like against the grain in that sense.
Yeah.
Like you find out someone wants to eat people, it's like wait a second.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm like toying with the idea of it's like a betrayal and it's like a personal hit that someone takes when it's like you're doing something that's like bad.
Yeah.
And then the other point was why we would
just your example of are they going to eat me? I think is a good example of why plotting is something that people would also talk about, because plotting can apply to anything. Like anyone could be the victim of a plot or a scheme. It's not like a specific harm. Like if you have a person who is, let's say the person does an act of violence, right? So that's bad, but it's not like you have to go around worrying that they're going to punch you. Like there's certain people who, but planning, anyone can be subject to that.
I remember the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Which was like, as to why like the bad news is what we like latch on to. I think it's like probably already said, but I was thinking about it also like the, it's like a self boost of like, well, at least I'm on that guy.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. There's a lot of reasons why lashon hara is fueled. Yeah.
I have a quick new approach tied back to last pasuk.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. I really.
I'll make it quick. Okay. Which is last time we said the polished stones was that chachma is given to you and you treat it as like this is word, right? Yeah. There's nothing to look deeper in over here, and that's part of like the ambiguous character.
Yeah.
And similarly here, so with Sayagon, there are cases where you hear something, and if you just treat it as chachma and you don't dive into it, then you're not going to see that it's an actually evil plot. And so there are cases of people who plot for evil. They present their understanding, and it looks like, oh, this is brilliant, and you don't dive deeper into it, and then it ends up being
okay. Interesting. All right, that's a creative tie together. My initial question on it is how to reconcile the different audiences. Like it seems like the guy in the last pasuk, he himself. I don't know if an Avil plots evil. I'm not saying it has to according to your idea. I'm wondering what the audience
It's
is.
not the Avil is the person who's going to
Who's going to be subject to this? I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because he doesn't
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Jakob, do you have something or?
Just have a question maybe for tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
What differentiates the approach we're doing where it's negative perception and Sean and Sadion's where it's positive?
Yeah.
It seems like both ideas are true. So
Right.
Okay.
That's a good question. So tomorrow I would like to start with Sadigon's Perush, and then okay. So I'm going to stop this, and